What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If you are new, as you see today, we are reacting to another video by Tier Zoo. I haven't reacted to one of their videos in a while. The last thing I reacted to was the insect tier list or something like that. It was a while ago, but I just saw they uploaded a new video yesterday. Are cows OP? When you think of a cow, do you think OP? No, I think just big, fat, give me some milk, as cows. Like, I don't think they're OP, but they have a bull up here, so I guess they classify them both. We'll find out either way. Original video will be linked down below in the description. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe to the channel. Follow me on IG, which is gonna be right here. Follow me on TikTok, which is gonna pop up on the screen. And if my camera's tweaking, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's tweaking right now. It was just doing fine. It's just spazzing out. Now let's get into the video. I enjoy these videos a lot, bro.
Cows are one of the most popular builds in the game, and normally
just because they make it seem like a video game,
a good indicator that a build is pretty powerful in the current meta. However, I think in the case of cattle, there are a lot of other factors which make their true power level a bit less obvious. Are cattle low-tier builds that are simply propped up by human activity, or are they a genuinely powerful high tier that would dominate with or without human help? Let's delve into their stats and abilities to find out.
Now, why he do that?
That are simply
why he come around the
up
corner
by
like
human
that?
Activity, or are they a
Look at
powerful
this.
high tier that would
man, hold on.
Dominate.
Go back.
True power level a bit
He was
less
already
obvious.
looking through the trees,
are
looking for smoke.
Low-tier builds that are simply propped up by human activity.
Watch.
Or are they a
hold on. Where is he?
Genuinely powerful high?
He already facing a way, looking for the smoke. And then
that would dominate with or without human
help.
help.
A big bully.
Let's delve into their
they ain't
stats
doing
and
that to
abilities
you.
to find out.
They already let your other ones walk by.
Cattle are part of a powerful faction of builds called bovines, which also includes the bison, Cape buffalo, water buffalo, and historically the auroch. While there are a few differences between them, which we'll discuss in a tier list at the end of the video, they all share a few common traits. Bovines have an exceptionally high HP stat. It takes a lot of damage to bring them down, pretty much requiring team strats from multiple predator players at once.
They eating his ass.
Unlike some other high HP builds, bovines don't just sit there eating the damage. No, they can strike back with incredible force. Their sharp, sturdy horns can inflict massive damage on anything unlucky enough to be caught in their path. And unlike antlers, which fall off and need to be regrown each year, the horns cattle have, they have year-round, always ready to wreck someone's plan of attack.
Damn.
Their mobility stat is kinda mid, definitely not high enough to reliably escape a predator. And their intelligence and stealth are both below average for a mammal. However, neither of these stats are all that integral to the bovine build's main strategy. While lower intelligence does create a potentially exploitable vulnerability to things like traps and lower their resistance.
But why are you in the backyard?
All that integral to the bovine build's main strategy. While lower intelligence.
Why are you in these people's backyard? You deserve to drown in that pool. I'm sorry.
A potentially
what is you doing?
Vulnerability to things like traps and lower their resistance to distractions and intimidation tactics. It's not so low that bovines aren't able to utilize team combos. Quite the contrary, in fact. The herd defense tactics employed by a competent herd of cattle makes them borderline impossible to defeat in a group. And since they have such a high HP stat, this gives cows' teammates a lot of time to regroup and launch a counterattack if one of their herd members goes down and needs a save. Next, we should discuss their unique abilities and...
Wow, you look crusty. You covered in mud or something? Gotta be.
Their signature combat moves. Bovines all have the ruminant ability, which enables them to gain XP and level up all just from eating grass. This might seem like a boring ability, but its usefulness is actually hard to overstate. Having this perk essentially means that one of the most abundant plants in the game becomes your main source of XP, completely removing the need to search and forage for food. This means a player doesn't need to invest evolution points into things like climbing, digging, keen eyesight, or intelligence to be able to find food, and can reinvest those points into other
some intelligence,
stats, which is how cattle are able to support such a high base stat total. Cattle also push the mammal faction's signature move, lactation, to its limits. Cow milk is one of the most nutritious substances in...
If you still drinking cow milk as a human, what's wrong with you? That's a serious question. What's up with you? Stop. Stop. I'm just kidding, 'cause I drink cow milk. I just drink
and
lactate. I
allows
drink
new cattle
lactate free.
players to level up
Or
extremely
lactose free.
quickly. This helps keep their offspring safe,
But I'm pretty sure
as
it's
it
still
means
cow
they
milk.
spend less time in the more vulnerable low weight
I need to
class,
stop.
and quickly reach a size where hardly anything could realistically take them down alone. The cattle's signature move is Goring Rush, an extremely powerful head bash attack that deals heavy damage and inflicts incredible knockback, forcing the target back a good distance and also likely knocking the target prone, which allows for easy follow-up attacks. Their sharp hooves
Bro,
deal
he couldn't
extra
even.
damage.
He couldn't even get up. He couldn't even get up. Look at this. Look at
The
this.
target back a good distance and also likely knocking
No,
the
not this
target
one.
prone,
I mean, it's
which
still
allows for easy
this.
follow-up attacks. Their sharp hooves deal extra damage to prone enemies, so this straightforward combo can be devastating if it catches an opponent off guard. That is about it when it comes to the cow's main combat moves. Cows can kick as well, but it's more of a stomp than anything. They don't have the flexibility or power to
No
headshot
neck
someone
ass.
like a horse can. They also cannot deal damage with their bite, since they don't have upper teeth. Not a super big deal, but biting is a powerful option to have in a pinch, so it's at least worth.
Boy, what the? First of all, I didn't know
They
cows
also
didn't have
cannot
upper
deal
teeth,
damage with
so
their
that's
bite,
new to me.
Since they don't have upper teeth. Not
With
a
that
super
horse?
big deal, but biting is a powerful option to have in a pinch, so it's at least worth mentioning. Now let's get into
I didn't
the
know they didn't
cattle's
have upper
weaknesses and counterplay. So due to the cattle's low intelligence stat, its resistance to mental status
pretty
conditions
stupid.
like intimidation, distraction, or trickery is reduced. Intimidation is a pretty common
Pretty
tactic
stupid.
employed by a
Tough.
variety of
I have
different
some
builds,
intelligence.
from predators to omnivores to herbivores. Intimidation is one of the most effective tactics against cattle, and can often result in a cow losing a battle that it very easily could have won if it had not been scared away. And conversely, if a cow does decide to take the offensive, distractions can easily divert the attack, causing it to completely miss. While this is, of course, extremely risky, overcommitting to an attack and whiffing can oftentimes mean the difference between decisive victory and crushing defeat.
Your family has been
That's a
chosen
yak.
to
I
prevent
was
the
trying to figure out what that
apocalypse.
was. This motherfucker big as hell.
Advanced players will even be able to utilize a combination of
Well, I know you're not.
intimidation
I know you're not fighting a fucking goose and you about to lose.
and distraction to kite cattle in specific directions, enabling them to control entire herds, which is what has allowed humans to capture huge numbers of cattle. Cattle are known for their Goring Rush attack, which, while powerful,
Put your ass
is
over that fence.
imperfect. Many builds put a ton of points into the ability Concussive Force Resistance, enabling them to throw out headbutt attacks without much risk. Cows have some blunt force resistance, but not enough that headbutts and charging attacks are without risk. In fact, at high speed, cattle can easily take lethal damage in a single hit if they strike another player at full force with their charging attack. Builds like the Goat
That
or
nigga
Big
on steroids.
attacks are
Y'all
without
see that
risk.
motherfucker?
In fact, at high speed, cattle can easily take lethal damage in a single hit if they strike
Bro, look
another
at this motherfucker got more muscle than
player at
me.
full force with their charging attack.
What the bruh?
Builds like the Goat
the
or Bighorn Sheep can easily best a cow in 1v1 combat, even though the take lethal damage in a single hit if they strike another player at full force with their charging attack. Builds like the Goat
Bruh.
or Bighorn Sheep can easily best a
Yeah,
cow
took
in
you
1v1
out.
combat, even though the cow's stats are much higher in a vacuum. Builds with forward-facing horns can also present quite a challenge to bovine builds.
You can
as
stick it in your
bovine horns
booty.
tend to face to the side and are more used for swiping and slashing at opponents than for stabbing forward. This means that in a direct confrontation, sharp antlers can deal a lot of damage to a bovine player while keeping them out of reach of connecting with their own horn attacks.
Y'all look like
There
y'all about
aren't
to
enough
kiss.
different
Like,
bovines for a proper full-length tier list video, but I think I can do a quick rapid-fire ranking to close out
yep,
this
come
video.
on, let's do
The
that.
basic cattle comes in at a solid B tier.
Okay.
Definitely not a bad build, but one with a lot of weaknesses that high tier builds can exploit. Their
Okay.
main advantage over the other, more wild cattle
So
variants
everyday
is
common
that
cow
due
B-
to selective
B
breeding
tier.
by humans, the domestic cattle are actually the best in the game at milk production, and therefore their offspring level up and reach larger sizes much quicker. Definitely a much more beginner-friendly build. Although at the
He's
end
pointing
of
on
the
his
playthrough,
face,
there's a
like,
good chance
dang.
a human will eliminate you. Also in B tier we have the yak, a mountainous variant of the cattle that opted for slightly lower base stats in exchange for better resistance to the cold and better mobility on icy or rocky terrain. The same basic weaknesses
Hey, I
as
thought it
the
was gonna be
common
higher.
cattle, but its ability to survive the cold Himalayan mountains means that it has less natural enemies to contend with than cattle in less hostile climates do. At the bottom of A tier, we have the bison. The bison are the largest bovine builds and traded some of their power stats for extra health and defense. As a result, they have shorter horns and lots of padded fur on their head,
Little baby
meaning that they
horns.
can tank a lot more damage, but also can't deal as much damage using Gore and Rush. This can be a
Little
bit of a
baby
problem, as
horns.
being able to one-hit a wolf would really help discourage aggressive teams of wolves from attacking them.
Golly.
Since they can't get a one-hit kill without a crit, some wolves get pretty brazen in their attacks on bison. Still, they're tied with the moose as the premier tank of the North America server,
I ain't gonna lie,
and
I'm
have
the
favorable
biggest.
matchups against the
Yeah.
grizzly bear. So still
Change
definitely a
day.
solid high tier. Next in A tier we have the water buffalo, a bovine build with roughly equivalent stats to the common cattle, but with higher offensive stats and massive horns. They get a mobility bonus in shallow water, which, while not that busted of an ability, is still pretty nice to have. Water buffalo have to be able to fight off one of the most powerful solitary predator
gator,
builds in
right?
the game, the Bengal tiger.
Oh,
Anything that can take on this thing has
The
to
more
be
you
at
know.
least A tier. The human player base in the India server is also notably less aggressive towards bovine players, which makes them a lot more viable in that meta.
Aw.
But when it comes to hostile metagames, nothing compares to Africa. And despite the abundance of extremely powerful predators like the lion and hyena,
I wanna take a
and
trip to Africa.
territorial giants like the rhino and elephant, the Cape Buffalo is still notorious for being one of the most dangerous builds in the game. It's one of Africa's Big Five, a status given to builds which are notoriously difficult for humans to defeat 1v1. And so I think for this reason, the African Cape Buffalo ranks first among the bovine builds.
What's
but
S?
still doesn't quite crack S tier. Mostly
Longhorn?
because it's overshadowed by
I
the
don't know.
wildebeest in the African savanna meta. The wildebeest, which is not a type of cattle or buffalo, but rather is essentially an antelope with higher stats, may not be as bulky as the Cape Buffalo, but it does have a much higher base speed stat, and this speed is pretty crucial for being able to escape an ambush from Africa's predator builds, and for punishing
jump right in
opponents
the
who
water.
don't respect the wildebeest's range, leading to the wildebeest being vastly more successful than the Cape Buffalo.
He chasing your.
This level of supreme optimization is what it takes to crack S tier in the African server. Now, this doesn't mean cattle will never be S tier. In fact, I think
said
there's
it's
a
S
pretty
tier?
strong argument to be made that prior to humans unlocking the gunpowder technology on the tech tree, bison were the undisputed S tier
I'm about to
of
say,
North
like,
America. And although they
bison
were
is
all
tougher
but
than that.
annihilated from the server, their numbers are slowly but surely returning to healthy levels. It's quite an
Love to see it.
inspiring story,
Love to see it.
which you can check out right now on
Nope.
Curiosity Stream.
Y'all can go check it out. Curiosity. Why am I saying it? You ain't paying me to say it. So yeah, the more you know about cows, you know. Now you know a little bit more. You learn some things. You learn that a wildebeest is S tier. Don't ask me how, but I mean it's playing the house or whatever. Original video, link down below in the description. Like I said, follow me on all social medias. What else? Like, share, subscribe to the channel. I keep forgetting. And I'll see you guys next time. Appreciate you. Peace out, motherfucker. Stop drinking milk. I'm included. Stop drinking cow milk.